Broadcasting to you from somewhere deep in the heart of Texas. Once again, it's me, Ian. Hello, hello, hello. Let me check my audio real quick just to make sure that everything sounds good. Give me one second. This. Just see how I sound. Broadcasting to you from somewhere deep in the heart of Texas. Once again, it's me, Ian. Hello, hello, hello. All right, I'm checking on my audio. It sounds like I have a little echo. Give me a second. I have an echo. Yeah, my mic stand broke, so I had to rig it. And I was hoping I didn't do any damage with the mic. All right, sounds good to me. That'll work. Okay. All right, you guys. How is everybody doing? Well, to the end of the world, as we know. So, what do you do with a slap on the face? When someone treats you badly, betrays you, offends you, or humiliates you, what do you do? And how do you respond when someone gives you a slap on the face? What to do? Just think about that for a second. So, here's the question. What do we do? I was talking to my husband about this thought the other day, and he said, cry. That's what I do because it hurts. But I guess that's pretty normal, for a guy to say to a girl. Men probably process it a little different. Say, I launched the other guy's head right off of his shoulders, by hitting him back. Hey. But what we need to recognize is that the man issue, to be processed is not the damage to our face, but the damage to our heart when we take a slap to the face. When a man takes a slap to the face. So, men, they want to give some thought to the question, what do they do? So, in Luke 6:27-31, it says, but I say to you who hear, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Unless those who curse you, and pray for those who spitefully use you. Him who strikes you on the one cheek, offer the other also. And from him who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who asks of you. And from him who takes away your goods, do not ask for them back. And just as you want men to do to you, you also do to them likewise. So, the first thing, you can do with a slap in the face is expect that it'll come. Some believers seem genuinely surprised when it happens to them, like something strange or unusual or unexpected has just happened. And the truth is that if you aren't expecting a slap in the face, then you're living in the dream world. Absolutely. So, I don't know many times I've seen an act of kindness repaid with self, with selfishness or ingratitude. But what's even more surprising to me is when people who are treated like this are so shocked. And I'm one of them. I get shocked. Especially when it's somebody who professes to be a fellow believer. It's just hard to take because we're not supposed to behave in that manner. I had a nephew who was on drugs and robbed a house, went to prison, He led family members financially dry and lied, at every opportunity. And I had a car that wasn't worth it for me, the reliance. Due to the fact that this nephew didn't have a car at the time, I gave it to him instead of selling it, for 800 or 1,000. It's like I got that much for it. But, a couple of months later, he wrecked it in an accident with a drunken friend. And when I heard the news, I was not surprised. I thought, well, it figures. I expected as much, and it was no shock to me whatsoever. So why are you so shocked when we get a slap in the face? In 1 Peter 4:12, it says, "Beloved, do not think it strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you." Right? People are going to mock you, and they're going to scoff at you. That's just who they are. They're sinners. And, in any pursuit, they're going to be the expectations of that. Otherwise, like I said, you're living in a dream. And, if you're going to have a baby, there needs to be some expectations happening. Labor, pain, difficulty, sleepless nights, crying baby, etc., right? And getting fit, there needs to be expectations, endurance, pain, hardship, stress, effort, puffing, etc. So Jesus prepared the disciples for what lay ahead by telling them to have some expectations about pain. In Matthew 5:10, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Even in our text here, what we have is preparation and expectations about what can or will happen. So we need to balance this out, however, with the danger of embracing a victim mindset. Sometimes we get a slap in the face and a kick on the other kind of cheek because we deserve it. But you live in a victim mindset, you can't take any kind of correction, rebuke, discipline without thinking. I'm being picked on, but you got to be able to face facts about your own shortcomings, your failures, and your self-indulgence. Now, when a victim minded, let's just say, when a victim minded mindset has gripped, a believer, anything that challenges the issues, the problems, to them, they're going to be interpreted as a slap in the face. So this is a victim mindset, and it's very dangerous, debilitating to our own personal development as a mature man or woman of God. So don't afford yourself the luxury in life of becoming a victim. Victims are people that have been mentally or emotionally or socially crippled. So if you're finding that you're spending a lot of time, or even a discernible chunk of your time, feeling sorry for yourself, you have a victim mindset. And victims are people who deny, the strength and objectivity to be able to confront life's problems and break through. So don't take on, the same spirit. Think about the spirit of this world, and the spirit of this world, which is the spirit of the neutral man, and that's to respond to others in exactly the same manner in which he is treated or worse. So, it's a spirit that says, "I will do to you exactly as you do to me." And what the spirit is taken to an extreme, when it's done that, it's really, and as much as I believe that punishment, should fit the crime, I find the kind of punishment um, that I think most people would agree um, is from the Lord, His rebuke, you know. But firstly, God recognizes because of sin and the nature of man, that there will be a need for punishment and justice in the wake of crime. And the law is set down, no less than three times in the Old Testament, where we read in Leviticus 24:19-20. If a man causes disfigurement of his neighbor, as he has done so, shall it be done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he has caused disfigurement of a man, so shall it be done to him. But think about the often ignored aspect of the law and the limits of this punishment. You know, absolutely. So let's contrast the idea of Old Testament justice, a retribution, with a new law that Jesus, introduces us to. Jesus here in our text is introducing us to the greater law of love. Absolutely, he is. Love conquers all, guys. So in Luke 6:27-28, I say to you here, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray to those who spitefully use you. So what Jesus is saying to us here is, don't take on the same spirit as those who do wrong. In other words, respond to hatred, injury, pain, injustices, and to the goodness. So you meet a curse with blessing, and people treat you badly, appeal to the Supreme Court of Heaven by praying for them. For God's plan or his purpose for his people is that we would be people who would have a different spirit. So the example that Jesus lived out, before us in this is that we, should take or make the model that he was onto our lives. So think about Jesus, at an arrest, trial, crucifixion. You know what I mean? So in 1 Peter 2:21-23, it says, "For to this you were called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should follow his steps, who committed no sin, nor was deceit found in his mouth, who when he was reviled, did not revile in turn. And when he suffered, he did not threaten, but committed himself to him who judges righteously." So most often, we're like the Irish boxer who got converted and was helping set up a tent for a tent crusade. When a couple of hoods came along and they began mocking him and giving him a hard time, one of them stepped forward, and the boxer, ignoring him, landed a blow on one of his cheeks. And then he said to the man, "My Lord instructed me to turn the other cheek," which he did. And as soon as he did, the hoodlum struck on the other cheek. So as soon as he did, the boxer rolled up his sleeve and said to the aggressor, "My Lord gave me no further instructions." Wah, wah, wah. So we have to listen to the spirit of Jesus, that's embraced in 1 Peter 2:23, where he committed himself to him who judges righteously. And effectively, what the Bible's saying here is that Jesus surrendered his right to take revenge. That's what he did. So in Matthew 26:53-54, "Do you think that I cannot pray for my Father, and he will provide me? I cannot pray to my Father, and he will provide me with more than 12 legions of angels? How then could the scriptures be fulfilled, that it must happen this way?" So the moment you decide to fight back, take revenge, instead of turning the other cheek, you take the fight out of God's hands and you put it into your own. In Proverbs 24:29, "Do not say, I will do to him just as he has done to me. I will render to the man according to his work." So God never has opportunity to turn our trials into triumphs. if we always want to play, God and send lightning upon those who abuse us. In Luke 9:54 and 55, it says, and when his disciples, James and John, saw this, they said, Lord, do you want us to command fire to come down from heaven and consume them, just as Elijah did? But he turned and rebuked them and said, you do not know what manner of spirit you are of. So Jesus, he doesn't want us to take on the same spirit of those who came against us, you see. So we let them bring out the best in us, not the worst. Oh yeah, it's a lesson to learn for a lot of us. Absolutely. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. So William Barclay, he says, retaliation, however controlled or restricted, has no place in the Christian life. So what to do with a slap in the face? First and foremost, when it comes to a slap in the face, learn to take it and accept wrong as a part of the Christian life. And listen to how the way God frames the reality of living the Christian life. In 2 Timothy 3:12, yes, and all who desire to live godly in Christ Jesus will suffer persecution. You know, if you're going to live for the Lord, it's not going to be without cost. Just know that. I'm just looking through my notes. So, when we're mistreated, it's a whole other thing. I mean, have you been mistreated anyway in the last few weeks? I mean, I want to help us focus on the bad deals that we've received and how we can turn those into times that we can praise God. So I wonder if you've been treated unfairly in any way this week. To a child, did your parents blame you for something, that your brother or sister did? Or at school, did your teacher, get you for something that the fellow behind you did? And, you tried to fight and make matters worse. So I'm talking about the little things, unfair, misunderstanding, misjudged, mistreated. So I want you for the next few minutes to think in your past life, all the unfair deals that you've received, bum deals. All of us have had them at one time or another in our life, right? When we've all gone through this. So handling the bad things and the things, I don't deserve, that's where the problem comes in. Never is our sense of justice so keen as when we're treated unfairly or misjudged. And I think this is the biggest lesson we have to learn in our life with our walk with Father, as believers in Jesus. Peter has a great deal about suffering wrongly. If we do wrong and we're punished for it, we deserve that. But here's the real evidence, of faith of life walk with Jesus is when we suffer for something that we didn't do, and we're patient in it, and we find favor with God. So if you'll be honest, much of it, not all of our bitterness, resentment, hard feelings, even our unforgiveness, is a result of somebody saying or doing something to us that we didn't deserve. You know, I mean, I'm glad the Bible tells us how to handle the problem and how to be a witness for Christ. And most important, thing our attitude towards mistreatment. So don't be surprised. First Peter 4:12 tells us not to be surprised at all. I mean, some people doubt their salvation when problem after problem comes in their lives. And some believers think that they should be exempt from suffering and wrongdoing. So don't feel sorry for yourself. First Peter 4:14, he said, I did such and such, and nobody said thank you. Or no name in church paper from the pulpit or whatever, you might be experiencing. Acts 5:41, these men went away rejoicing because they suffered for Jesus. And don't worry about it. I mean, First Peter 3:13 and 14 tells you that. And Matthew 10:28 tells you to fear God. So the person who's living for God, can be hurt, but cannot be harmed. So how are we to act when mistreated? We recognize it as the will of God. So when problems come, we ask, is this of God or Satan, or both? I mean, Satan's doing it, but God allowed it. So we have two aspects, right there. Will of God and harm caused by Satan, that faction. So God allows things to happen in order that we might perfect his will or purpose in us. And if we cannot take unfair treatment, then we're still babes in Christ. And it's easy to be kind when others are doing kind things to us. But Jesus said even the pagans did this. So concentrate on pleasing Jesus. 1 Peter 3:15 talks about that. So if we're trying to please self, we can never bear it. But try pleasing Jesus. Keep a good conscience. 1 Peter 3:16. I mean, you can take mistreatment if your conscience is clear. And if the shoe fits, I mean, bless those who mistreat you. 1 Peter 3:9. And bless means to speak well of, to show active kindness towards them. So we have no right to try and get even. That's God's. So be ready to witness in that situation. 1 Peter 3:15. Sooner or later, that person will want to know what makes you tick. So be ready. Turn your face over to God. 1 Peter 2:23 tells you that. So we're never going to be able to be judged righteously in this life. People do not know all the facts. Only God knows. So how do you turn your case over to God? You just keep doing what's right. And people get misunderstood, all the time. They say, I'm not doing the job anymore, So, the greatest witness for Christ is when we're mistreated and we act Christ-like, in that manner. Hi, Diane Lynn. How you doing? Good to see you, man. So anyway, I was just showing some pictures of the pre-mud flood, what all these are, and just speaking about, when we get slapped in the face and how we handle mistreatment of others. It's still hard for me. For me as a person, 55 years old, and it's still hard for me to accept when people stab you in the back, or when they're negative, or when they lie, they're hypocritical. I just, I don't have a bad bone in me, and if I ever offend anybody, I always try to make it right because it was intentional. And so I don't know, for me personally, it's hard to see how other people enjoy taking place in evil actions. It's really hard for me to discern or deal with. But anyway, I hadn't been on here in a hot minute, and I made it to a whole 500 subscribers. Woohoo! I don't know if I should laugh or cry because I've been on YouTube for so long, and they tend to kind of shadow ban or block people who have these kind of messages. Yeah, but I'm glad you're doing well, hon. Yeah, I'm just still going, And when COVID happened, I lost like 21 people, two being my mom and my dad, and my aunt, my daughter-in-law, a lot of people that were close to me. So I'm still trying to recover, from the loss of all these people in my life, and then you never know what to say or you can't say on YouTube. without them putting you in the corner and making you wear a dunce hat. Yeah, it is. It really is. But you know something, Diane, I've been saying now for about 10 years that there's a time coming, just like how it says in the Bible, that in the end days, the rulers of our country that do evil, that their evil deeds and acts will be revealed to the world. Well, I've been saying that for about 10 years now, that there's a time coming where people are no longer going to be able to hide their true nature from you, because a lot of people are really good, giving you a different face and not showing you who they truly are. But I've noticed over the last year, mainly the last year, people just, they can't hide who they are. They are coming out and showing you exactly who they are. That's all shades of nasty. you know, and sometimes it throws me for a loop. I'm like, wow, you know, people that I've talked to for 4 or 5 years, and now suddenly they're like, yeah, yeah, it's like they're like a pit bull. But those of us that are good, kind people, we don't have to worry about that. I mean, the worst I might do is throw in a cuss word or something. you we're harmless, and I just feel like we're coming down to that point where the wheat and the chaff, or the wheat and the tares, are being separated. God's going to let us know exactly who we need in our lives and who we need to eradicate from our lives. And I've had a big separation. My friends list is getting small. You know, I still have some people that like God's love. We're still kicking it strong. We've been friends for about 8 or 9 years now. We met here on YouTube, and I still talk to her on a regular basis. And then I have friends in my life outside of podcasting. But I'm telling you, my friends list is shrinking, and it's amazing because you would never think certain people are that way. You would never think that, and then when it happens, it's such a dang shock. You know, I think I've kind of gotten past the shock now. Really, I mean, some people still shock me, but I've come to expect anything from anybody nowadays. You know, the other day I was on an app called Stereo. I love Stereo. I'm here every day podcasting. And we had a bunch of people in the room. Here's what I love about Stereo. You can have up to 6 people on your panel. You can create an avatar, or you can put your picture up there, any picture you want. And the 6 people on your panel, and then the people and the listeners they can participate in the talk by leaving messages. And so it's a lovely, and you're not censored. There's no censorship. You are free to speak your mind. You can share links, to any information that you find. It's great. It's a good app. So if you happen to go to Stereo, I'm Miso Honey, the name I've got up there right now. If you find me, come holler at me, and I'll introduce you to some good people. But back to my point. um, let's just say this: since I started interacting on Stereo, I'm interacting with Muslims, with atheists, with Christian people, with people that are spiritualists. I mean, there's a plethora of people over there, and the Muslims have really opened up my eyes because they were stereotyped in America really bad, and I was one of those people that played out. That I have some lovely friends that are Muslim, and I wouldn't trade them for anything now, anything in the world. They're precious. And just because we believe a little different, we just have to set that aside, because we'll never come to an agreement on our beliefs. That's okay. With me, I'm fine, you know. And so, anyway, back to my point. We were doing a podcast. We had like 6 people on the panel. We had Christians, we had Muslims, we had atheists, spiritualists, and everybody was having a great talk. Everybody, people from the United Kingdom, people from Sudan. We have people from all over the world in there talking. The United States, and as soon as they started talking politics, my gosh, the ones that were the most devout Christians, just I saw a spirit rise up in them. Boy, it got hot. It got really hot, man. People were screaming at each other. Yeah, I had to step down and walk away because I just didn't want to give that kind of energy. I didn't want to give my energy to that kind of that kind of podcast, or that kind of talk. And I've learned to do that lately. have to really protect my energy because people are like vampires. There's a lot of people that just suck you dry out, and it's horrible. So I kind of begin to start protecting myself a little more from certain people, and that means my friends list has shrunk. I've had to talk to people. Yeah, I've been full too. Even though I'm empathic in nature, sometimes it still takes a little bit for me to really get to know a person, you know. And if you talk to them face to face, it's a little easier. But if you're just speaking to them like on a podcast, it takes a little bit to really discern who they are. So yeah, I've been fooled too. Believe me. Hmm. Yeah. And certain people they'll want to paint a certain picture of you. And I always say the content of one's character will explain everything. It won't leave anybody wondering who you are, what you're about. It's always going to be about the content of your character. But then here I am surprised and amazed, when somebody wants to lie on you or slander you, they kind of lean towards that person. But I feel like they do that because the skin color of the person matches theirs. And it's a damn shame, you know, it really is, you know, and I have to be honest about it. That's happened to me recently, a couple months ago, and it broke my heart because I thought we were all just people getting along, and when it came down to it, when somebody wants to lie on you or say something that's not untrue or negative about you, it seems like the whole group is quick to go with that person whose matches theirs, and that breaks my heart. People have come around since then. They have come around, but it was a hard thing to have to go through. It was a hard reality, and I can understand it. I get it. I get it. But for me, is it so much about the tone of your skin, or is it the tone of your voice? Is it the color of your heart? You know, that's the way I've always been. And, I mean, they say judge not lest you be judged. And I will judge a person. That's just about the character, not by anything else. And I think that's just wisdom because I've been on this for a long time. you know. But anyway, I guess I'm gonna hop out of here because I've got some packing to do. We're going out of town for a couple of days, and I'm glad to see you. I'm glad you're still kicking like a chicken. Y'all, there is two moons up there. Look at that. I'm gonna watch this slide for just a minute. I'm gonna go on mute.
Get down, get down, get down, get down, get down, get down.
Look at that triangle. Down behind the clouds. I don't know how they got in on this. They shouldn't be here. I don't know if you can see the darkness in the background. It looked like a massive angel. Dark ours is sure anybody listening here is advanced, they know that. Killing big government. 10 cans for 10 grams, baby. That was a planet. Took a picture of that one too. Those are Indians. Those are my little Indians. All these antiquated buildings like this, we build junk. And look at that. I mean, you still see these buildings around, the post offices, your schools, your churches, the state capitals. But they weren't all destroyed. Gorgeous. Wow, massive. Mm. Looks like it was new, literally. Hurricane, tornado. How were they able to carve stone like that? I mean, we know they did not use it. It had to do with laser precision. My goodness. Looks like that child was frozen in time. Wow, look at that road. Jeez. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
Now, get all those bones, cheese. Hello to whoever tuned in. I've already finished the broadcast. I'm just looking at some photos that fly by fire British. Tell me this stuff is done with a freaking chisel. No way. No way. Beautiful. Gorgeous architecture. My goodness. Hello to anybody who's joined. I finished the broadcast. I'm just viewing some photographs now. Oh, that's my grandson. Isn't he handsome? That's Isaac. Forgot to stretch him. 'Alright, I'm going to end it in about a minute. I'll have a whole hour. It's on full screen. Countdown. 30 seconds. I'm out of here. Sending great, positive vibes your way. Lots of love from my heart to yours as always. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, night, afternoon, day, wherever you are in the neck of the woods. It's a big shout out for Texas. Mwah.